Welcome back to Influence to Equity. Today we have entrepreneur extraordinaire Michael J. Macdonald. Got to make sure that you know who he is. Michael,
Google
thank
me.
you so much, right? Listen, say with your chest, I am him.
Facts. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for being here.
Thank you
Where
for having me.
where I want to focus my attention and I find so fascinating about your story is we're going to talk about branding because you're just now coming out from behind the scenes, with EYL and Earn Your Leisure and EYL University and everything that comes with the network. Why did you choose now?
Everyone has their moment. Everybody has their time. I think I waited long enough. I've been behind the scenes for over 20 years. So it was just that time. I felt it. And that's why things are going so fast for me in the right direction, because I waited for my time and now is my time.
What I think is so beautiful about your journey, and just so everyone is aware, like you are behind the financial media platforms, Earn Your Leisure, InvestFest at the university, Money Mondays, and you've got Keys
Market
with his
Mondays.
show, huh? Market Mondays, thank you.
Market Mondays.
Market Mondays. Why did you choose to be a silent partner to begin with? And the reason why I'm asking is from like an ego standpoint. So I had a scenario, full transparency. I had a scenario where I had a business partner and she struggled with the idea of being a silent partner. And I'm like, okay, well, let's find a role for you where you feel comfortable, where you feel like you can grow and evolve and expand. And she said no, she didn't want to do those things and she didn't want to be in front of the camera, but she also did not want to be a silent partner. How did you choose your lane and stay in it so confidently for so long?
Well, I mean, if I had the choice, I would still be behind the scenes.
Really?
But your life, you grow in life, right? You get different challenges, you get bored. And I think I got to a point where I didn't feel challenged anymore. I felt like I wasn't growing. I'm around different types of people now. I'm seeing them growing and be in a different light. And I just felt like constant. I felt like I wasn't moving. And then I had a kid. And when I had my son, it kind of like if it like confirmed the feelings I was having. I was like, if I stay behind the scenes, I'm only as good as the talent that I'm helping, right?
Mm-hmm.
If my family's destiny can't rely on anyone else but myself. And I felt like this was the time now that I have to control my own destiny. Like I was telling a friend the other day, I said, now that I've been doing this for about 5 months, I have 66,000 followers now. I have a following. I have a lot of engagement. I have a YouTube. I have a podcast. I have a lot of different elements now in my disposal. If I want to go and do a mastermind and say make a few $1,000s, I don't have to worry about you coming and make this mastermind work.
Right.
I have an audience now that is enjoying my content. I'm becoming my face is becoming an authority in this space now.
Right.
And I have I can control my own destiny and do the things I want to do now. I don't have to depend on no one else, because again, now that I have a family, it confirmed my feelings that now it's time for me to control my own destiny.
It's interesting. So this is not a question that I thought or had considered on asking you, but I do want to dive into it. So I am a mom. I have 2 boys. I have a son that's nonverbal. He's autistic. And I said that I would never be in front of the camera. I said that I would never have a podcast. I said that I would not do TV work or really any of the stuff that I'm doing now. But having my son, it was a conversation with God who said, he doesn't have a voice, but you do. And it's a lot of times we hear these stories. And of course, as a woman and as a mother, I'm around other moms and other entrepreneurial moms. And we're talking about how our kids are our wives, but I don't hear it a lot from the men. Can we talk about how your life has shifted as a man, as an entrepreneur, and a very successful one with multiple brands that are doing 7-8 figures, to how fatherhood has changed you?
I mean, it's the reason why I'm here speaking to you. I don't think I had the confidence to speak in front of the camera. He's given me he's lit a fire under my ass, pardon my French, but
No worries.
he's given me purpose. He's given me reason. he's given me more of a drive. It's like my second part of life. And now I have more to live for. Not that I didn't have enough to live for before, but I was content with living the way I was living.
Yeah.
I was very successful, financially free. I was cool. But now I'm doing it for a whole different purpose now. So I think it's been amazing. And watching him grow up, watching him grow this past year has been amazing. He's 1 year old, him taking his first couple of steps, his face changing, everything has been amazing. And the fact that I work from home and I can spend more time with him, you know, I don't have to go to a 9 to 5 is definitely a benefit. The only thing is he's young now, so he can't travel as much when I have to travel. But
Right.
as he gets older, he's going to travel with me all the time. So being an entrepreneur is very key because I want to enjoy every single moment I possibly can with him.
And if it's okay, I want to take it back. You are a hustler. You always have. You've always had it. You are the jack of all trades. You are able to do, like, I've got 5 people in here. You've talked on a few other podcasts that, you know, you literally could do everything. But I want to go back. You know, where are you from? How did you get into lighting? How did you meet, you know, Troy and Rashad? Like, how did that come about?
Well, I'm from Greenburgh, New York. That's where I grew up at. Me, Troy, and Rashad, we met in probably elementary. I met Troy like at 5 years old. I met Rashad at probably like 10 years old, 11 years old on the basketball court. So we've known each other practically our whole entire lives.
Wow.
So we're childhood friends. We grew up together. We went to school together. They were actually a lot taller than me. Like I'm 6'6", so I was like 5'3" like my whole life. And then 11th grade, I just shot up to like 6 feet tall. And then I became, you know, by the time I graduated, I was like 6'4", 6'5".
Dang.
So came from a small town called Greenburgh, New York. And we've had a bunch of different businesses. We tried a bunch of different businesses. We've been friends, you know, for so long. That was the one key that we had. We trust each other, and we were close to each other's families, each other's, you know, other friends. Like it was just a really close knit circle.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was easy to do business with each other. And it's not like this was our first business. This was probably like our 4th or 5th business. So,
question for you. So, I have a rule. I don't work with people I know in my personal life. How do you all navigate different personalities and making it work as well as you have, not given the extent of your relationship is, you know, quite long? How do you make sure that you can get past like butting heads, disagreements, confrontation? How do you get past that to reach a particular goal?
Well, so before we had this successful business, we had a relationship, a friendship, right? A brotherhood. So when you meet someone you don't know how they are, right? You don't know, you're learning them, right? Especially if you go into business with them at the beginning, you're learning that type of person, how they act, how they move, how they, you know, how are they with their family. You really don't know them.
Right.
The good thing, see, I don't understand that thing that don't work with family and friends.
Yeah.
Those are the first people that we try to hire, our family and friends. We look at what they're great at. See, that's the problem. You have to do it right. You got to see what they're great at and put them in position to win.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't like doing camera work and you put them behind the camera, they're not gonna win.
Yeah.
You're just helping them because it's your friend or family. You got to help them in the right capacity.
Yeah.
You got to put them in a place where they can win. So like my brother, he worked for the post office. He's in logistics. Okay. Our merch business is really technically logistics. We do all the marketing, right? We do most of the marketing, and he does the logistics. He handles how it gets shipped out, putting the site, ordering the right amount of merch, and that's logistics. We put him in that place, and he's flourishing. He's a partner with merch, and he's doing a really great job.
That's great.
So it's all about when you work with friends and family. The first element that you got that you can knock off your list is trust. I trust everybody, right? I trust Troy, Rashad. I trust my brother. Those are the first things, right? And if I didn't trust them, they wouldn't be in our business.
Right.
So that's the first thing. When you meet somebody you don't know, you have to gain that trust. So, and that's the hardest thing I can only speak for myself. That's the hardest thing for me.
Yeah, me
to
too.
trust somebody I don't know. So that's why I felt like going to my friends and family first was so much more beneficial, but it was even more beneficial to put them in places that they can win.
I got to admit, in full transparency, that's where I screwed up, is I put someone in a position that did not belong where I placed them.
Mm-hmm.
And that ended up being incredibly detrimental to that particular business.
Of course.
So let me ask you, how did Earn Your Leisure start? Is this where you thought it was going to go?
So the first thing when we started Earn Your Leisure, we started with Rashad. Rashad came to me. He wanted to be the #1 financial advisor on the internet, and to do that, we had to make a lot of content. We had to change the game. We had to change the dialogue that has been taught in the financial literacy space.
Mm-hmm.
So he started posting different content, different types of content, breaking down like the vitamin water deal, breaking down like contracts in the basketball and football, and really like giving it in a way like it was so digestible and understandable for people to kind of like say, wow, I didn't even know that. I didn't even, and relating to them like, oh, this is really interesting. I could do this. Like when you're saying like, you're buying Nikes every Saturday when they drop and you're paying for them, but you can buy the stock and make, $100, $200 a week. And now you're getting your sneakers for free.
Yep.
Like, so it's just, it kind of like, it struck a wave in the algorithm. Like, so it was so beneficial, his content, that they wanted more. They like, we're only getting these little pieces on Instagram. We want more. So people started asking for a podcast. And that's when Rashad was like, yo, let's do a podcast. He called Troy up. He said, Troy, like, I want you to be the host. They've been speaking forever. So it's the same conversation. It's just, you're just doing it with cameras. And that's what happened. And we started Earn Your Leisure. The first few episodes, they went like wildfire.
Wow.
Rashad had about 40 or 50,000 followers. He leveraged his personal brand to market Earn Your Leisure, and boom, it went crazy because they wanted it. That's the thing. People don't listen to what the people are asking. If you listen to your audience and what they ask for, you give them what they ask for.
Right.
Don't try to go away from that. Listen to the comments, listen to the DMs, listen to the emails, and take that and put it into your business. Now, do I think that is do I think the level of success that we've achieved? Do I believe I didn't see this level? And when I say that, I knew it was going to be great because, again, I took a chance, Rashad took a chance, Troy took a chance.
Yeah.
We didn't start this to make money, right? When we first started, there was very limited ways to make money in podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
It was not a lot of money in podcasting. So when we first started, we was like, yo, let's just do it. And it's my brothers. They hit me and like, all right, why not? Let's do it. It don't matter. Like, let's do it. What we got to lose?
Right.
And it started to take a lot of our time. So I'm like, now I'm starting to say, I was losing clients. I was doing this, but we seen a vision after a few weeks. We seen whoa, this could be big. Mm-hmm. We kind of creating history. We're going to be in history books.
Yeah.
That's when we started to see, I said, oh, this is going to be big. The money, that was going to come later, but the education, the impact to our community, that was going to be big. And that's when we started really like doubling down and going hard on our content, on our information, and just really looking at it as a full-blown business. And I must say, like, I did believe it was going to get to a level of success and change our lives, our family lives, our friends' lives, and the people.
Yeah.
I definitely believe that. I just didn't see outside of America. The fact that America caught on to it, yeah, that was understandable. But when we go to Africa, when we go to Canada, when we go to London, UK, I didn't see that at all.
It's fascinating for me because like I remember the beginning of EYL and when the guys came out with the podcast, and let's be real, the conversations around money are uncomfortable. Or it can be. And especially within our community, we're not having them. And even for someone like me, I don't come from the financial world. I happened to make a deal that exited. I asked for equity as a joke, and they gave me the equity. The company exits. I take the money, and I realize that influence doesn't have to operate the same way. I can continue to ask for equity instead of taking these short-term deals. I could take $25,000 for a deal, or I can ask for 0.25%, 0.5%, 1%, whatever the negotiation is for the company, and create a business structure in that way that separates myself from all other influencers. Hence the name Influence to Equity. Then it led me into tech, and then it led me into more money, and then I hit my first IPO, and then the second one. And I was like, there is such a different narrative and conversation that can be had around money. And a lot of that started with what you guys built at EYL. And at what point did you know, first of all, as a culture, we need to be talking about money? Because it's why, even for myself, it's why I started the podcast. For women, we're not negotiating our contracts. We're not negotiating our salaries. We're not, we're not asking for equity. And we don't even know how to talk about money in a way that makes sense for us. How did you all get past the difficulties of talking about money and making sure that people understand the content that is being told to them in a way that just makes sense and makes it easily digestible?
Well, when you infuse basketball, you infuse sports, entertainment, music, you infuse all these things with business, which we were doing, it became relatable. Like if you say 50 Cent made $100 million off a vitamin deal, and then you break that deal down, like you see, like he's not really rich off a rap. He's rich off a vitamin water deal.
Yeah.
Like and it becomes like relatable because you're literally drinking vitamin water. You see him, balling out on his Instagram because he made so much money. It's all in our circle, so we were relatable. We didn't say this stock here, 2% down, option stock. We didn't do all that because that wouldn't be relatable. It's like when you go to church. I can go to a church where they're just reading scriptures, or I can go to a church where they're connecting with our current culture now and how we are. So you take a situation in the Bible and you relate it to what's going on in the community now. That's how you connect with the audience, and that's how we connected with our audience. We related it to the things that were happening in our communities. We took a business deal like the Nike deal. I said you're spending $200 a week on Nikes, but you could be making $200 a week from Nike by owning Nike.
Yep.
But we didn't see it that way. Now the mindset is shifting. We're shifting it, and now we're doing things differently because we see the benefit of changing our mindset and making money a tool and not just like being a consumer.
It's interesting that you just mentioned that Nike deal again. I just had this conversation with my manager, and we were talking about like Louis Vuitton or what are some items that that we shop for. And I remember saying to her, I don't buy Louis Vuitton. What I did was buy stocks. What I did was make sure that I had stocks in LVMH, making sure like I'm not a Hennessy drinker, but even if I didn't, but like Fenty and everything else, everything is under LVMH. And for me, it made sense to buy the stock in Louis and in LVMH rather than buying it when I could spend. So every time I think about, I could buy this purse, I either will invest it back into my business or then I go buy more stocks instead. Because that means I got the money. Because if I got the money for $200 worth of Nikes, I definitely got the money to then invest and buy some stock or equity in Nike 100%. For sure. I love the game that you're giving. And so you all took Earn Your Leisure and you turned that into other platforms. You've got all the different lanes. You've got Ronnie that has her podcast within under the network. You've got Keys under the network. You've got Ian. Shameless plug. I think Sara Lovestyle and ITE should be under the network, but we're not going to talk about that. We can talk about that offline. But you built all of these platforms. Can you talk about how you all were able to expand the brand? Because listen, y'all audience rides for y'all. I've seen the way that they showed up in Africa. I've seen the way that they showed up in London and the way you guys have this, like you mentioned, a global brand. How were you all able to identify who your audience was, but also expanding it the way that you have?
Well, I'll say like, if you started from the beginning and you're like, I want to build Earn Your Leisure, InvestFest, EYL University, EYL Network, EYL Vending, EYL Health, EYL Trucking. If you started from the start, you would be so overwhelmed. It would be really impossible to do.
Right.
Because there'll be so many moving parts. But what we did was we started from a podcast. After that podcast, we started a community called EYL University. During EYL University, we started events. That gave us the knowledge on events. We were doing networking events, free networking events. We were doing paid networking events, paid workshops, paid summits, paid conferences. It gave us the knowledge that we needed. Now we start InvestFest. InvestFest does really, really well.
Yeah.
just one step at a time, one step at a time. You keep on, you stay consistent. You always posting in your algorithm. You're always be in front of the people. You're giving a lot of information. You're adding so much value that people have no choice but to support you because they see that you're doing this because, one, we've been giving free content from the start.
Right.
And today we're still giving free content, and a lot of it. You don't need to buy, not that we even offer a lot of products or services. You don't even need to buy any of it.
Right.
You can just listen to anything that we give for free is going to give you a great amount of knowledge to do the things that you need to do to be financially free. So I think it's the thing is we was just doing one, the tree was Earn Your Leisure and one branch at a time. And that's what we did. We didn't get overwhelmed. We didn't say we had to do all of those at once. We just took one step at a time. And whatever came on our plate at that moment, we worked on, made it a priority, and then we went on to the next.
So I know that you do coaching now, and you're helping brands take their businesses to the next level. I can imagine you're not going to give away free game. However, what can you tell us about supercharging your brand
every day?
Hey, you do though. You really do. Listen, you do.
Monday through Monday. On my YouTube, on my Instagram, on everywhere, on my podcast.
That is true. That is absolutely true. And there's a lot of it. Y'all make sure you're listening and tuning in. But what are some ways that, or what's a secret to supercharging the brand? Like, I'm 9 years in, and people ask me all the time, and I'm like, listen, time and patience and consistency is what I would say. And I think not rushing the process and also understanding your knowledge and your authority within your space. But what are some ways, what's one way that we can supercharge a brand if someone is a budding entrepreneur or wanting to build a brand for themselves?
I mean, I could say the easy way is just being consistent and working hard and just going at it, right? But the thing is, I would say is like, if you have a product or a service, I would be very informative about that product. I wouldn't try to sell that product. Like, for instance, I have a one-on-one and I never sold the product on any of my social outlets. I just gave information, and I made my website where I guided you without guiding you. I guided you without telling you that I had one-on-one.
Yeah.
And because I've gave so much information that they wanted more, the same philosophy that we do at Earn Your Leisure, they want more.
Yeah.
They say, oh, this guy could possibly help me build my business. I'm stuck. I can't figure out how to get from $10,000 a month to $100,000 a month. A person that knows how to do that, that's done it multiple times over and over again, could probably help you get to your goal.
Yeah.
So it's all about giving that information. Give as much as information as possible, over deliver, be consistent, work hard. Those things, and whatever you do, that's why I can coach you, whether I'm coaching a medical biller or a nurse or a photography company. Who else? So I got like 18, 19 people. So and that's only been a matter of 2 weeks, and I never really sold it. Never really sold it. I just had you come to my website and it told you that this is what I do. And selling is telling a story. I've been telling stories for the last 5 or 6 months. And now you're getting to know who I am. You're getting to see my social proof, my story, and people are relating to it. And people want to change, and people want to take whatever they're doing. They want to take it to the next level. And someone like myself could help you do that.
I've heard you say before that you started asking for equity. How did you? For someone that is starting and for someone that's an entrepreneur like we are and several years in, one, how do you know when to ask for equity, and how do you find the courage to ask for equity?
Well, for me, like the first time I got equity, it was really by mistake. I didn't really ask for it. I really wanted the money because I was young. I was like, I really want the money, but but then I seen how much he was making. And I'm like, if you put some things in place, I think you can make a whole lot more. And he's like, listen, I don't really have the money, but I'll give you equity if you could do it. I'm like, but I took a chance. So I knew it would make money. I did the calculations in my head. If I have this much percent and I know it could do this much money because he's already doing this much money, and I can make it get to this much money, I believed in myself because I knew what I knew. And And that's what really happened. And that was the start of my equity deal. And I just never wanted to just work for a fee anymore. Like this one-on-one is actually, I gave myself a job, literally. And not that I'm not happy about it, that, you know, so many people signed up, but it puts a lot more pressure on me. But there's a method to my madness.
Right.
I'm going to do this probably for the first 20 and only 20. I'm probably going to end it very soon, right? And then I'm going to go to somewhere that I can scale. One-on-one can't really scale unless you have like a really big corporation that you have other people coaching you.
Right.
And like Tom, whatever his name is, Robbins, Tony Robinson.
Yep.
Right. You can't get him you ain't getting him on no call. So unless I get to that point, that's the only way I would offer one-on-one again. But I want to offer a group coaching because I can get on the call once a week or once every other week, and I can scale it to thousands of people. And that's my goal. And this is going to be my personal social proof. Yes, I built 5 or 6 brands in the last 5 or 6 years to multi-million-dollar businesses.
Right.
But now I'm gonna build 20 businesses in 4 months to multi-million-dollar businesses.
Dang.
What does that do for me? How many more people are gonna sign up with me after I do that?
Listen, we all are at that point. And I can't even lie. I had a coaching business, probably some of the best money I've ever made in my career. And it was the hardest job I've ever had. And I got out. I literally gave it up because it was so much work. And also, you know, managing and handling personalities is a lot, and how everyone deals and runs their businesses is quite different than how I would run it. And so I decided that was not the route that I wanted to take. And so I took this one instead. But let me ask you this. What are some mistakes that you've learned in your career so far from... Here's the reality. Everyone wants success, right? Everyone wants to get to the pinnacle. Everyone wants to be a Michael, a Troy, a Rashad. Everyone wants to be Kobe, but most people are, one, not willing to do the work, nor do they have the guts, the balls to withstand everything that comes with running and operating a business. I think there's a level of characteristics and selfishness that is also required, like to go from $100,000 to $999,999 to making $1 million to multiple million requires very different levels of yourself. What are some mistakes that you've learned in that process? And then what are some tips and tricks that we can take to help us grow our businesses?
Well, my biggest mistake, I would say, is not delegating, trying to do everything, letting my plate get filled and never saying no. That was probably my biggest mistake. If you want to grow your business to the next level, you have to put people in place. Whatever you're great at, you have to be great at, and let others be let others do what they do that they're great at.
Right. Because
I shouldn't be answering the customer support emails. That's not something I'm not even great at. I shouldn't be answering phones. Things like that. I'm going to be doing what I'm great at, looking at your business, seeing what needs to be improved, putting operations in place where systems and operations so people can do what we want them to do the way we want them to do it. Things like that. Like, so I would say delegating, that was my biggest mistake, personally. As a business, I mean, we've grown really fast, right? So I can't really say we've made mistakes, right? Yeah, we've made probably little mistakes down the line, but we've grown so fast that we're still a young company, but we're highly successful.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the mistake might just be we just grew so fast. But is that really a mistake?
Right.
I don't really think so. So, I mean, personally, I think delegation to me, that would be my biggest mistake.
And actually, I'm glad you mentioned it. Is there, I have my own opinion and I'll give it to you after. Is there, and not that you all have had this issue, but just as a business as a whole, do you believe that there is such a thing as scaling too fast? Because everyone wants to blow up. But if you don't have the right systems in place, is there such a thing as scaling too fast?
100%. And that's my avatar. The people that scale too fast and didn't have the system and structure in place to be able to provide services and products and support to their customers. That's the people that I've been helping. They've gotten a large amount of business and they didn't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
That's why I want to come into these businesses to help them with their systems and their processes. And it's so many different tools out there to help you streamline your business much more efficient, and where it could grow at a rapid pace and you won't be overwhelmed.
Right.
That's why you have to delegate. That's why you have to get VAs. That's why you put these systems in place. So you're not, if you go away for a week, your business is still there.
Right.
It's still working. If you can't go away from your business for a week or 2 weeks, then you ain't really got a business. You got a job.
That part. One last question for you. What would you say your mission is?
My mission is to probably help as many people I can help as fast as I can help them.
What's the mission for EYL? What's next?
Change the world.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that came to my mind. Become the biggest media company in the world.
I have nothing to say. Well said.
Yeah, I said that with a straight face.
You sure did.
I can't even lie to you.
And I felt it.
And we're going to do that.
And you're doing it. That's the most extraordinary part of the
I appreciate
journey.
that. Thank you.
You are literally doing it.
And I mean, and it's because it's hard work, it's dedication, it's being consistent, and falling in love with your vision.
Yeah.
We have this vision now. We know we can be the biggest media company in the world. And I'm not talking about black media. I'm talking about the biggest media, hands down, in the world. And I don't see us not becoming it.
No, I don't see
The fact that we've grown this fast at this level, this fast, I know it's in us, and I know it's going to happen, and we're going to be a billion-dollar company one day, a multi-billion-dollar company.
IPO or acquisition?
Whichever makes the most sense at the time it happens.
No, Michael, thank you so much for coming on. I'm so excited about this episode, and I can't wait for people to hear it.
Thank you for having me. This was kind of cool.
Thank you. I know it's different from the other podcasts, but I wanted to learn a lot more about you and make sure that, my audience and the people get to know just the silent face behind the brand. I think there's something really beautiful and courageous and exceptional about being a part of something that literally is changing the world and changing how we navigate and operate our finances, which, like I said earlier, is a difficult conversation to have. And financial literacy isn't taught when we're kids. I'm in my 30s figuring it out. And I didn't learn about equity until I was 32. I didn't ask for equity the first time until I was 33. I didn't even know what venture capital was 4 years ago. And it's the work that I'm doing now. And so I have to commend you and the guys and what you all are building over there, because you are changing the narrative around how we look at money, how we deal with money, and how we can gain more of it, because there's so much money to be made.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And the mission is just to keep going, keep changing the narrative for our people, and becoming a huge media company that can control its own destiny. Right. And that's what we're doing. And I think people like you that continue to support us, and everyone else that supports us, and we're going to just keep striving forward.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Michael, for coming on.
Thank you.